The decision by the US and Germany to send combat tanks to Ukraine has only just come to a close, but conversation has already begun about the potential use of other forms of firepower, specifically fighter jets. Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, thanked Kyiv's allies on Wednesday for sending tanks, but he claimed to have urged NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg for additional help. "We have to unlock the supply of long-range missiles to Ukraine. It is important for us to expand our cooperation in artillery. We have to achieve the supply of aircraft to Ukraine. And this is a dream. And this is a task," he said in his nightly address. Ukraine has been open about its desire to get fighter jets from its allies to aid in its conflict with Russia, including the F-16 Fighting Falcon, a multi-role fighter aircraft created for the US Air Force. Kyiv is sure that it will soon receive F-16s as well, just like it did with Western tanks. "We will get F-16s," Yuri Suk, an advisor to Ukraine's defense minister Oleksiy Reznikov, told. Suk stated that Kyiv anticipated a similar course of action to the tank issue, i.e., allies reluctant to deliver Ukraine fighter jets prior to an eventual agreement to do so, but expressed hope that, in this instance, the decision will be made more quickly. "We hope that there will be no same mistakes, because we will get the F-16s, he said. At the moment, more than 50 countries around the world have this platform. I don't see a reason, or any rational explanation, why Ukraine shouldn't be getting F-16s or other fourth-generation jet fighters, he added. The United States has been coy about giving Ukraine F-16s or permitting other nations to re-export their own fighter jets built in the United States to Ukraine. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said he had no announcement to make on the issue Wednesday. However, there has been some openness to the notion in Europe, with the Netherlands declaring last week that it would consider giving Ukraine F-16 fighter jets if Kyiv made a request. According to analysts, the effectiveness of fighter jets for Ukraine would depend on the type of aircraft, its armament, and the flight environment. In terms of air-to-air and, perhaps, air-to-ground lethality, Justin Bronk, a senior research fellow for air power and military technology at the RUSI think tank in London, wrote on Twitter on Monday that Ukraine's Air Force would undoubtedly benefit substantially from Western jets. However, there are cautions, he said. Any Western fighters that could plausibly be sent would still be at high risk from Russian SAMs, surface-to-air missiles, so would have to fly at very low altitudes within several tens of kilometers of the front lines. This would dramatically reduce effective missile range and limit strike options, he noted. This meant, he said, that while Western fighter jets would offer Ukraine an improved capability to destroy fixed Russian targets near the front lines from a safer distance, they would be adding to existing strike options like HIMARS and drawing from limited stockpiles. Germany stated on Wednesday that it would send 14 of its own Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine and would permit others to do the same. The US later revealed intentions to send 31 Abrams tanks to the country. The decision has sparked outrage in Russia, which has labeled it extremely dangerous. According to Carsten Nickel, deputy director of research at analytical firm Teneo, Germany decided to send tanks after months of pressure and consideration, making any debate over fighter jets an extremely remote possibility. "I think we're definitely not at this stage yet, but, in terms of those demands being made, then, yes, I would expect that. What I would look at going forward is further contestation around precisely those questions in domestic politics, and perhaps in the domestic politics in other Western countries as well," he noted. After securing tanks, Ukraine has turned its attention to more practical issues. Zelensky stated Wednesday night that Kyiv's top concerns right now are how many tanks it will receive from its friends and how quickly they will be delivered. Ukraine considers itself to be engaged in a battle against Russia on behalf of the West and other nations that it feels will be exposed if it fails to drive Russian forces out of the nation. If Russia is not stopped in Ukraine, they will go further west. They are dreaming about reinstating the Soviet Empire, Suk said. As such, for Ukraine, time is of the essence when it comes to receiving weaponry. Suk said there should be no hesitation in terms of supplying weapons to Ukraine. "We just need to be given everything we need to defeat the enemy because the enemy is a threat not just to us, It's a threat to everybody, he said. This is ultimately a war that will determine the future of the world, not just Ukraine, not just Crimea, not just Donbass, and everybody understands that. In this war, in this world that will determine the future of all of us, why should we even discuss things like whether Ukraine needs fighter jets or not?